Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yamunatira Varachari
Yamunatira Varachari
Yamunatira Varachari
Yamunatira Varachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
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 Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Where Shane is this evening?
Do you want me to work for you? Do you want it, eh?
Door. Put it by the door. Take it back to my room. I know. Where's the book thing? Om Jnanatamandhyasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavani Iswari Vishubhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namaste Girirajaya Shri Govardhana Namane Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Paramananda Daine Hey Vancha Kalpatarabhyascha Vasandhyavicha Patidunam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mare Kavando Mad Sangin, Mad Guru Mad Madana, Mad Mistaraka Mad Bhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute, Asadu Sadhu Tadayan, Atinito Chatakara, Hanamuncha Karachin Mam Premno Hitkatayospura. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Rayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Vito Jayam Madhurayat Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Tamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki Mananina Bhavena Bhaktin Kravanti Yedadam Matkirte Twakto Kamanas Twakto Swajana Bandava Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Sambiro Bhavanti Ritkana Rasayana Kataha on verse. Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Sambiro Bhavanti Ritkana Rasayana Kataha Tajjosana Rasvapavaga Vartmani Shada Ratir Bhakti Anukamishyati. Alrighty. Where do we leave off, my dears?
Oh, yeah, line over here. I felt like I was at Jim Jones.
I have a question, actually. You know that one devotee with a beard?
Are you sorry?
Reminds me of Arjuna, but like, I think it's the other one. What's his name?
Nanda?
Yeah, is it beard?
The devotee that comes here.
Well, yeah, he kind of comes here sometimes.
Oh, is he the one that comes in the morning sometimes? And you thought, meanwhile,
No.
no one ran into him with that one with glasses?
No, he doesn't have a beard. That's me. No, he doesn't have a beard. Jamir wouldn't know him either.
He reminds me of because they both have beards bigger than
I don't know who else has a beard. Bala Gopinath? He's a beard.
It's like a big guy too, like a big tall guy, and he has a beard and he's bald.
There's that guy who comes here. He's not like a Albin.
Oh, Alvin used to come out of that here.
Albin still comes.
Like
Yeah.
a black beard, and he was kind
Albin does remind me of Arjuna. Yeah.
Okay, it's because he bought electrical cards, but there's like none left.
I believe we're on text number 26.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay. Can anybody give me what they're, after having been here since day one, a lot of you devotees, what is some themes that have come up in this Bhagavatam that we've seen that have been demonstrated? There's some recurring themes. Maybe someone can kind of share some realizations. Hey, it's oh my God, look at that.
Well, hearing is a big thing.
Hearing.
Hold into that theme of hearing along with King Parikshit and finding out the power of hearing is fascinating.
Hearing, yeah. Anything else?
Bhakti is the highest process.
Yeah, bhakti. That's like the big point that's being made, right? That the Bhagavatam's rejecting all these other processes of spirituality and propounding bhakti. Any other points?
Well, with hearing and remembering, a big point that always gets brought up is forgetting. So
Okay.
people always end up in these situations somehow or other where they forget, which
How about
too unlike the rest of us.
associating with sadhus?
Maybe qualification over here with the speaker.
The qualifications of hearing and chanting. What are those?
There is no qualification for those.
I'm no envy for Krishna.
No envy, non-enviousness, yeah. Okay, let's do verse 26 here, nice verse. Namanyantasya tatra papatan guyani badrani kritani chasmaran gampayatam stushtamanagata spraha kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsaraha. I know what that means. You know what vimatsaraha means? Not being envious. Not being, hey, Shana made it. Not being envious. Okay. Someone could read the verse?
Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious.
Wow, there's just unlimited nectar here. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. So we're just going to stop right there. That's a powerful statement Prabhupada's made. The life of a pure devotee is explained in a nutshell. So who wants to be a pure devotee? We're already pure devotees because you had to serve a pure devotee sincerely. Thus I begin chanting the holy name, fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. I think of Mahavishnu Maharaj. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. How do you be fully satisfied? Right? That's a difficult thing right there. Satisfaction. Satisfaction means we're okay with what Krishna gives us. Don't try to get more. For a devotee who does, Krishna always has ways of really chopping him. Sometimes I think of there's a line in a Green Day song. You can't go forcing something if it's just not right. So go do what you like. So that's the way it works in the material world. We try to force things a lot of the time. We try to force our own, I want this and I'm going to make my own plan, And all of a sudden my idea is like, oh yeah, little buddy, come on over. We got a plan for you. We got a plan for you, all right. And then somehow or another, we always end up perplexed. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Point there, right? All my dearly new initiated God brothers. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes seriously the chanting of the glories of the Lord. So, when I was with Mahavishnu Maharaj, I fell in love with him so deeply because he's such a wonderful devotee, and I was crying when I had to say goodbye to him after a week of serving him. I said, Maharaj, you're so transcendental. You're the most, you're like the most amazing person I've ever been around. And he has so much spiritual energy. It's just like, it's really profound. Mahavishnu Swami is so powerful. And I said, can you give me one instruction so I can carry you with me in my heart? And he said, chanting the holy name is very fun. It's very beautiful. We can have so much fun. We can goof around, but it's very serious business. So chanting is very serious business. That should be our seriousness about the chanting, right? We take our chanting seriously. And that's what makes you, that's what gives you the Shakti and the Bhakti. No chanting, no Shakti, no Bhakti. Oh, and then spreading it all over the world. So, me and what's his name now? Nitai Prabhu. We're going to be traveling to Mexico together this weekend to preach the glories of the Lord. And on the behalf of our spiritual master, who's no longer going. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire to go back to Godhead. So there it is. We have one single desire. Ekehaku Nandana, right? What's that desire? Get me out of here. Place is not fun. I don't want to do it anymore. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead, they are never envious of anyone. Nor they are proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. How do we overcome envy, folks?
Sometimes to imitate the good qualities we see in another rather than be envious.
Yeah. Anybody non-envious here that can tell us? Arjuna Prabhu, non-envious.
So, I would say I haven't completely conquered, but I used to have a lot bigger problem with it than I do now. And like one thing that worked for me is the good old exposure therapy. I just put myself in situations where I knew that it would happen, you know?
Yeah, I don't have to put myself in those situations. Krishna does that for me.
And it kind of helped me after a while see like how ridiculous. And sometimes you know.
One of the statements I like is that Krishna says, "Yayatam mam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham." Everybody's getting what they deserve, right? Everybody's getting exactly what they deserve. And so, like, if we just have that faith in Krishna that, like, this person is deserving whatever they're getting, whatever abilities and mercy and powers and beauty and fame, whatever that they have, they deserve it. And I deserve what I got. And another thing is that sometimes, especially like in devotional life, because we're so conditioned to being envy, we can take our admiration of another devotee and because the conditioning is enviousness. So instead of admiring that devotee, we see their service and we think, oh, I'm not, why can't I be, serving like that? Why can't I be joyful like that? Why can't I be, powerful bhakta like that? And one of the answers that I've thought of over the years is, we have unlimited time to do unlimited devotional service. That's an encouraging thought. We have unlimited time. We are unlimited eternal beings, so we have so much time to do devotional service. And, it's like nice, I don't gotta, try to be something more than I am now. I got time. Let me just work on trying to please Krishna. And amazingly, Krishna is so pleased by good chanting. It's just amazing. The only business is to chant, remember the holy names of the Lord, and according to personal capacity, to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive or material gain. That's the real key. Can you give it to others? You try to just give Krishna to others. Unless you get a taste for that, there's nothing like it. It's totally addicting. And that's like the whole, you become actually, that's really Krishna bestows so much mercy on the one who tries to give Krishna to others and care for others and try to help and support others' bhakti. That's so powerful. So powerful. And we all take the mood, because that's the Guru's mood, that's Prabhupada's mood, that's our spiritual master's mood. And if we can somehow or another capture the mood of the Guru by proper association with him and his associates, think about how if everybody had that mood, how it would manifest in the community, that everybody's really trying to help everybody else in devotional service. But what's the big enemy of Krishna consciousness? Personal ambition. That's the big enemy.
Pride.
Yeah, pride comes from that person.
What is the relationship with Shanti to Shakti?
Shanti just means peace.
There's no relationship, which is not opposites, they're not like.
No, Shanti means peace. They're really different words. Okay. It's like, peace. Evam Krishna Matir Brahman Nasa Tasya Malatmana Kalapadu Abhutkare Tabit Sadamani Yata. And so, O Brahmana Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material taints, met with death, as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport, someone can read, please.
To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material thirst or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna, who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant, and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality, and are without permanent value. That is a sign of spiritually enriched person. In a due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning, and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection due to his body being spiritualized, like a red-hot iron in contact with fire.
Yeah. So that's an important point that's brought up, that for a devotee, death there's so many different processes at death, right? So someone who's very sinful, their death is a very, very slow process, and many times they leave their body through the lower chakras, they leave their body through the rectum, they leave their body through the genital, they leave their body through the lower regions. Not pretty. And so they always transfer to lower births, but the higher beings, they leave their body through here, here, or here. And actually, even the Christian saints, the Orthodox monks, they keep the skulls of the dead monks, and they say that they don't know this, but the most elevated of the monks, they have a cross right here, crack. Well, we know because we're bhakti yogis. We know that because the skull actually cracks when such a yogi leaves their body, and we shoot out that chakra. But for a devotee, we don't worry about things like that, because if they're thinking of Krishna, no matter how you die, Krishna personally takes care of that person. But the point being that sometimes it takes, for someone in the mode of ignorance, there's a period of time between their death and when they get a new body, because they're so attached. They may become ghosts. We heard the very famous and now one of the Tucson's classic stories of Catspur. Catspur, the unfriendly ghost. You heard that story? That's going to go in the Diro Purana for sure. And we heard, we hear about how people they'll hang around, they're ghosts. But someone in the mode of goodness, they get a new body rather quickly. But someone who's a devotee, right, simultaneously, like lightning and like light and lightning, they're transferred into their spiritual body immediately, because they're aware of who they are, and then their body becomes spiritualized by engaging in devotional service. The body becomes spiritualized, which is why we put a sadhu in samadhi. Or generally in Vedic culture, people are burned. That's the process for disposing of a body. But for a saintly person, they go into samadhi because their body is completely spiritualized. And so, therefore they put their body in salt. It's actually a saintly relic. And that's also understood in the Catholic Church. And you see that in there's a science behind like a incorruptible saint, which is, sometimes in the Catholic Church, there's saints whose bodies never decay. They remain incorrupted. And we understand that because the subtle body has not left. The subtle body has not gone with that person. They're leaving their material body and their subtle body. And our dear Krishna Kumari Mataji, who used to live here and then who sometimes visits from Mayapur, or her husband, who was a very pure devotee, when he left his body, right, she couldn't tell he was dead. Even though he was dead, his heart wasn't beating. He looked so alive still, and like he still had like energy coming off of him and all this. And so then they explained to her that it's because the subtle body is still present. It's not like the same way that when a normal person leaves their body, the subtle body travels also. But someone who dies such a pure death in Vrindavan, chanting Hare Krishna, his whole entire subtle body was left there also. And so therefore the pure devotee's body is spiritualized and placed into samadhi. And then it's a consecrated item, and when you go into the samadhi of a great personality, Vaishnava, you can feel their presence and interact with them. And it's no secret that I've explained how I spent very much time this year in Prabhupada's samadhi every day, praying to Prabhupada and sitting in Prabhupada's presence to come back and try to do Prabhupada's mission. You can really feel that presence in the samadhi. Also, Rupa Goswami's samadhi, I spend a lot of time there. 2 hours there praying. All right, next verse. Any questions? You got a question, Arjuna?
Yeah, so you said that when a saintly person leaves their body, they get transferred relatively quickly into their spiritual body.
Instantly.
So, what is the spiritual body? Like, I thought the spiritual body was already there because it's just super soul. And jiva together form that super body, or no?
Well, the material body of a spiritual personality is also spiritual because it's fully engaged in the service of the Lord. But we also have a sarupa form in the spiritual world that is, like with Krishna. That made of the same substance Krishna's body is made of, Satchidananda Vigraha. And so that body is not subjected to any of the material challenges that these bodies are subjected to.
So say I'm supposed to be a bee, one of the bees in Goloka Vrindavan. My jiva is not look like a bee right now in here. It's naked kind of, but
It's a spark.
When the time comes, it will be put back into bee body.
Well, it'll become that.
Okay.
It's 1/10,000th the spark, the tip of a hair right now.
Well, it always was that. It's just unanimated for a split second.
Yeah.
From the perspective of.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Depending on who you speak to. When I met Radhanath Swami the first time, it was the first experience I had where I was like, wow, this person has a spiritual body. You can just feel it. You can see it. His body's he doesn't got like a human body. He doesn't even doesn't feel like a human being. He feels like something else, like some type of deva or something. And it's like when you look at Radhanath Swami, it's kind of like you're looking at something outside of the confines of this world. He's so spiritualized. Amazing devotee. Wow. Prayujamane maratam sudam bhagavatim tanum arabda kamanirvano nyapatat pancha bhautika. Having been awarded a transcendental body, befitting an associate of the personality of Godhead, I quit the body made of 5 material elements, and thus all acquired fruitive results of work stopped. So the point here, right off the bat, the point is being made that having been awarded a transcendental body, be fitting an associate of the personality of Godhead. So we're hearing here, this is shastric evidence that there's something beyond impersonal liberation, right? That having been awarded a transcendental body, befitting an associate of Krishna. So this is a different thing. This is a different level. This is a new level that many people aren't aware of, that you can have a transcendental body befitting the associate of Krishna. And that's a whole different type of existence. Informed by the personality of Godhead that he would be awarded a transcendental body befitting the Lord's association, Nara got his spiritual body as soon as he quit his material body. This transcendental body is free from material affinity and invested with 3 primary transcendental qualities, namely eternity, freedom from the material modes, and freedom from reactions to fruitive activities. The material body is always afflicted with a lack of these 3 qualities. A devotee's body becomes at once surcharged with the transcendental qualities as soon as he is engaged in the transcendental devotional service of the Lord. It acts like a magnetic influence of a touchstone upon iron. The influence of the transcendental devotional service is like that. Therefore, change of body means stoppage of the reaction of the 3 qualitative modes of material nature. Upon the pure devotees, there are many instances of this in the revealed scriptures. Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and many other devotees were able to see the personality of Godhead face to face, apparently in the same body. This means that the quality of a devotee's body changes from material to transcendence. Actually, we hear about that in Dhruva's case, right? Dhruva's body became golden. It became golden. This is the opinion of the authorized Goswamis via authentic scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said in the beginning that the Indragopa germ up to the great Indra, king of heaven, all living beings are subject to the law of karma and bound to suffer and enjoy the fruitive results of their work. Only the devotee is exempt from such reactions by the causeless mercy of the supreme authority, the personality of Godhead. So yeah, the devotee's body becomes transcendental. And so there's a process here that we're trying to get free from these modes, right? That's really what it comes down to. How do I get free from the modes? Whenever we're acting in a way, when you start to analyze your psychology and you start to become aware and observe yourself, how many times are we acting for Krishna? We have so many subtle things we do, like I want to look, a certain way in front of this person. I want to do this a certain way, We have so many different subtle things we do. I'm going to just stand here because I'm forced by the modes, because of some desire, whatever. You know, and the point is how much of that has to do with our real business. So Krishna says, Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati yaitan brahmabhuya yakalpate. That when one comes to the stage of performing this transcendental service in a way that is unceasing, then sagunan samati yaitan, they're above the modes. And brahmabhuya yakalpate, they actually realize themselves as not this body, they become liberated. So the way we develop that, it all comes down to this guru situation. The guru has given us a certain vani based on our apparent readiness to serve. Like Prabhupada, he approached his spiritual master with one question. You know the question? How may I serve you? So he wasn't approaching the guru with, I have this problem, I have that problem, I have this problem, I want this, I want that. And that's okay if we do approach our Gurudev with these different issues. You know, he's there to, you know, serve Krishna by serving us. But at the same time, if we can take up the mood and mission of the spiritual master to the best degree possible, then to that degree that we realize that our business is this mission, we take up that mission, then we have an opportunity to become fully absorbed, you see. And in that case of being fully absorbed because of surrender, we realize, hey, this is not my business.
Vani means mission?
What?
Vani
means the instruction, yeah. This is not my business, you know. God, it's so nice, it's so wonderful, it's so sweet. I really love it, but, you know, unless somehow or another that becomes my business, I have no business with that. And so, is it easy? No. No, it's not. Because we're conditioned. We're conditioned to want material things. And so, how do we cross beyond it? Right? Daivi heshu gunamayi mama maya duratya mame viye prapadyante maya metam durantite. It's very difficult to cross beyond the ocean of material miseries, the three modes of material nature. It's very difficult. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. But for one who has surrendered unto me, he can easily cross beyond it, Krishna says very assuringly. So what does it mean to be surrendered? It's every moment. Discerning. Is this Krishna or is this Maya? Is this Krishna or is this Maya? Does this have anything to do with my spreading the Krishna consciousness movement? And so we have to accept that whatever's going to come is going to come based on our karma. Whatever enjoyment, whatever people in our lives, whatever connections we're going to have, they will be there. We can't avoid that. So why should I try to make them happen? I should simply just remain fixed in my desire and my determination to perform devotional service and to serve the spiritual master. And do you think Krishna won't provide? That's surrender. It is actually a process of denying ourselves. And we all want the love. We all want the goodie of the love, right? And we want that sacrificial, beautiful love, which comes from denying ourselves and taking up the order of Guru. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Right? Krishna says, Masuchaha, right? Fearlessly. We have so much fear that if I surrender to Krishna, I'm not going to get to enjoy it anymore. Oh my God. You know, it's real. No, it's real. It's almost, I've actually shed tears, no joke. I really have had moments of like, you know, I'm crying. Oh God, I can't do this, you know. I'm going to do it. And then in the end, you find that Krishna, after a while of that stroll, Krishna, he's like, all right, you know, here's the bliss. Here's the shot. Here's the bliss. He'll give you that. He'll give you that mercy. But still, right, it's a constant test. So we need to have that surrender. And then we'll go beyond the modes. We know we're not in the modes, like Guru Maharaj is always saying, you know, stay out of the modes, stay out of the modes, stay out of the modes. How do we stay out of the modes? We just be on Krishna business. There was one scene from Star Wars Attack of the Clones where there's a big old scene and they're like chasing someone in a bar, and then one of the Jedi goes, "Go back to your drinks, Jedi business. You have to be that way, you know. Back to your drinks. This is devotee business, you know. My business is Krishna, you know." And that way, you're always in this internal potency, it's mystical, protected by God potency you have. The instant you stray away from that, then, I mean, think about it. You're doing damage to Maya. You're preaching. You're serving Krishna, and then all of a sudden, you know, when you step out of there, what is she going to do to you? She's seeing you, you're protected, but then you leave your protection. What happens when the enemy comes out of his cover? The snipers shoot him. And it's really what happens, right? So it's like that, right? We're making big boom in Krishna consciousness. We're making devotees, we're preaching, we're serving it up. And then, you know, now I'm stepping out of the shelter for a little bit, you know, I get distracted. Oh, is that? She's pretty, you know. You know, there goes, you know. I've seen it, you know, we all see it. And then we're all totally subjected to it, anytime, any moment. So I was speaking to my spiritual master not too long ago, and he said, you know, we were speaking privately, and I had said, you know, I'm very scared that, you know, I'm unable to do this, you know. I don't know how I can do this. I see that there's people that are far more qualified than me that are not able to do this. And he said, you know, if you think for 1 second that you can do this, you are totally in Maya. He said, but if you just hold on to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, your spiritual master in Krishna, no one can touch you. So, what does it mean to hold on to the lotus feet of spiritual master? It means you take up that service. That the Guru's service is Krishna's service. We're authorized. When you have Guru and you take it, then the Guru is saying, you know, here's your badge. Now you work for God. You seen the Blues Brothers, anybody? We're on a mission from God. That's our position. We're on a mission from God. Okay.
Can I ask just a clarifying question?
Please. We like questions. We want them more.
When we went to Dero's class last Thursday, we were talking about the material mind and the spiritual mind. Mm-hmm. He seemed to kind of indicate that as you grow in devotional service or particularly this practice, the material mind and intelligence kind of starts dissolving away, and the spiritual mind and intelligence. So the subtle body for a saintly person is kind of dissolving in a sense. Yeah,
there's a verse in the 3rd canto that explains that. Lord Kapila Dev explains that devotional service, without any extra effort, dissolves both the material and subtle bodies. So you dissolve the subtle body by devotional service.
And the material senses, likewise, you become a master of those senses, like Goswamis, and the same way those kind of.
And there's a science behind how we become a master of the senses. It's, you know, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite. By serving the master of the senses. Krishna is the master of Hrishikesha. He's the master of the senses. So by serving the master of the senses, there's a Sarvapati Vinir Muktam. Sarvapati, all of the Sarvapatis, upadis, meaning false designations, are dissolved by that Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite, that service to Krishna. We lose the subtle identification with the body. And the subtle body is the real thing. That's the mind. We see through the mind. That's why Krishna says the mind is the aggregate of all the other senses. So we're perceiving through our mind. I can see Jamuna and Shena and Gauranga, and depending on what my mind is thinking, I'm perceiving them in 3 different ways. I can perceive them in so many different ways based on where the mind is at. And that's why the subtle desire is the real killer. And that's the fight. You know, we really have to conquer the mind by proper means. And side job. You know, devotional service isn't our hobby. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't think that bhakti is my hobby. Right? How can it be your hobby when you're an eternal servant of God? So if we make bhakti our business, then, well, what other business matters than my main business? And that's why we can't forget the goal. That's why Krishna, he says that verse is so, it's quoted so much, is Krishna saying, Mam Ekam. You actually make me number one. Mam Ekam. Sharanam Brajaha. Me, surrendered and run to me. And, Ma Suchaha, don't fear. You shouldn't have any fear in doing this. There's so many fears, and their fears are addressed. The fears of doing Bhakti Yoga are addressed. What's the fears? What are some fears we have in fully surrendering to Krishna?
Lose that on enjoyment.
Oh, we're not going to enjoy. Prabhu, you're not going to enjoy anymore. You lost it. You're wearing saffron now. How can you enjoy? More fears.
Well, related to that is he's going to ask us to do something or give up something that's.
Oh my God.
Imagine where you would be capable of doing or go somewhere.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I know. I'm not joking. Like, I really feel that on a regular basis to the point of like breaking down in tears.
It could be awkward.
Awkward? Elaborate.
When you hear your family that you're
Socially.
Oh, social awkwardness. Yeah, like,
Krishna's going to ask you to do if you surrender. Like,
what you.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing is, and that's where it comes down to, like, we really, if you, in surrender, you get to know a person, right? Like, that's love. That really is love when you surrender and you think like, I'm letting you have it, Krishna, like, do with me what you will. And, he doesn't hurt you. He doesn't hurt you. He only supports you. He'll never ask us to do something we can't do, but he'll push us to our limits. He'll push us to our limits. You feel like you're like in some type of anime, you're like, oh, really, it's like that. That's how I feel. It's an anime. You're like being pushed, but Krishna's always there to love you. And then when you fall, when you break in his service, he always catches you. And then he embraces you. And I'm not joking in that. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. For those who are engaged in this service and who love me only, who are devoted to me alone, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. What's the verse, Jumana? Louder. Yoga Kshemam Mahamyaya. I don't know the third line. I just know Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam. Anyhow, yeah. So Krishna, he'll embrace us. He'll embrace us in that. He'll never ask us. So we have fear for fully surrendering, right? And then questions. What happens if I don't make it? Well, you'll take birth in the family of righteous Brahmanas, or you'll go to the moon, or you'll take birth in the family of devotees, or you'll take birth in the family of rich people, depending on where you're at. And, Narada Muni gives us that famous verse, Tvakva swadharmam charanam bhujamarir bhajana pakvo tapatet tato yadi. Right? Yatrakavaba dharmabuddha musikim kovarta apto bhajatam swadharmata. And even if one surrenders everything to engage in the service of the Lord, but falls down due to immaturity in the beginning, there is no loss. But one who does his material duties perfectly, but doesn't develop seriousness in Krishna consciousness, there is no gain. So, take it up that Krishna, he'll always catch us. We fear that we're not going to enjoy. We fear that we're not going to be maintained. I think more than enjoyment is that a lot of times we fear that we're going to be maintained. And Krishna's calling me to be so austere. If I really want to surrender to Krishna, that means I have to be austere, right? And, it's a trick I was hearing, actually from some Catholic kind of things that saying, like the call, like, we shouldn't have fear that we can't do something. Like, if God is calling us to do a service, we should have faith that he will empower us to do it. But how do we know God is calling us? Well, the Guru told me. Yeah, but did you tell the Guru? That's the question. Someone was asking me last night, is the Guru guiding? Where's the Guru? And I said, the Guru's like a doctor, like you go to the Guru, you say, hey, doc, I got a headache. All right, take this. but actually he had a stomach ache. And so you didn't give the guru the full picture. Even though he probably knows he's not going to give you the proper medicine, right? So, you know, sometimes people start to bring the guru down into material level because they think the guru should solve their material problems. All righty, any other points? That was fun. Where are we at? 29. Someone can read the Sanskrit, huh? We'll read it together. It's nice. Kapanta idamadaya shanmane mambas yudvanta shishyasya anupranam vishvishenta aham vibho. Someone read?
At the end of the millennium, when Krishna, God, Narayana lay down within the water devastation, Brahma began to enter into him along with all creative elements, and also entered through his breathing.
So this is describing how the universe is created, right? There's a certain process of creation. People don't know this. Theology is so like misunderstood in the world that, what is the genuine actual theology? It's so vast and immense, how this real theology of the personality of God described in the Vedas is so immense. Time is cyclical. And time is cyclical. And so after Brahma, he lives 100 years. Each day of Brahma is so long. Brahma's lifetime is about 3.11 trillion years. And so, when Brahma, at the end of his day, what happens? He goes to sleep. And the whole 3 lower planetary systems are covered by the devastation. And the upper planetary systems remain. But at the end of Brahma's life, what happens? Everything is absorbed back into Mahavishnu, the Karanadakshaya Vishnu, and basically unmanifest for some time. And so this is what this is describing, that at the end of that this is happening so long ago. What we're reading about is literally happening trillions of years ago. Trillions of years ago. We're reading about something that happened trillions of years ago. And so Narada Muni was absorbed back into Vishnu. And then at the beginning of the creation, when Brahma came out, and then he started manifesting all his mental sons, right? He had some sons that were in the mode of goodness, some sons that were in the mode of passion, some sons that were in the mode of ignorance, and one transcendental son. Who's his transcendental son? Narada Muni. And the second most transcendental son of Brahma is Kardama Muni. Right? But Narada's way different level. He's a different level completely. And so Narada was the last one to come out, right? Who were the first sons of Brahma? Kumaras, right? Well, actually, no. Well, yeah. Who's the second son? Shiva. Yeah, Lord Shiva. Wait a minute. Lord Shiva is transcendental to Brahma, isn't he? Yes, but he appeared out of Brahma.
Does Narada Muni have more knowledge than Brahma? He's more enlightened?
No, because we hear that Narada Muni is usually asking Brahma questions. But we don't,
Brahma like falls down a lot of times, or makes a lot of mistakes, but we never hear that Narada Muni says. Yeah,
but Brahma's mistakes can't be like seen in that way. We're warned against that. Even well, actually, give an example of a mistake Brahma makes.
Didn't he get like attracted to one of his daughters?
It's a different Brahma. Yeah.
Just Brahmas in general, though. That's something.
They're different Brahmas.
Like the principle of like a Brahma, like being able to make a mistake.
There are Karmi Brahmas, there are Yogi Brahmas, there are Jnani Brahmas, and there are Bhakti Brahmas. So this Narada Muni is coming from our Bhakti Brahma.
So Narada Muni isn't necessarily, there's not like a Narada Muni for every Brahma that's like specific.
Narada Muni is transcendental. He can go between universes. Narada Muni is a completely spiritualized personality. He's not subjected in the same way, but Brahma is transcendental. And so there's a point in the third canto you're speaking about. I knew you were going to bring that point out about that fall down. So I was kind of being facetious there, because that fall down is, I mean, it's described by acharyas and by what's the rishi's name speaking? Why am I forgetting? It starts with an M, not Markandeya. Maitreya, yeah, Maitreya Muni. It's described by Maitreya Muni that, right, he didn't want to speak about that story because that story is kind of like, well, I shouldn't speak about this. This is kind of an offensive thing to speak about. But he did anyways because of its instructive. And so then the point is, maybe we shouldn't criticize these controllers, that was a different Brahma, was at a time when he was at a different level. Just like if I criticize you for things you did before, you're now a Nitai, right? Well, that Nitai, you know, I know what he used to do. I can say so many things, you know. But, or you can say so many things about me if anybody knew me before I was a devotee, right? Or I can say that about all of us, right? That, oh, you know, I know what they used to do, how weird they used to be or something. So, in that way, the Brahma is transcendental. Yeah, and he becomes, it's described by our acharyas too, how he becomes transcendentalized. Because we hear that Brahma heard the Chatra Sloki from Krishna, and Krishna came up and shook his hand. And so if Krishna shakes your hand, that pretty much means you're transcendental. Right? So then Brahma is playing the role of a guru, but he's a transcendental personality also. But in a sense, we can say Narada Muni is, you know, playing the role of the son of Brahma, but he's also transcendental also. So sometimes we find that the pure devotees, they apparently fall down, but it's for Krishna's Leela's sake, teaching lessons and so forth. Prabhu?
Brahma's elevated position, I mean, how he was there at the very beginning. Why aren't there temples to Brahma? Why isn't he work? Why are such lower demigods worshipped?
You know that story, right, Garanga?
I don't know.
He was cursed that people wouldn't worship him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't seem.
Say that, Mataji?
Wasn't that from the Bhagavata or something? Because he did that.
Well, that was different. That was how Brahmanas were cursed by Brigamuni. That they would lose their potency because Brigamuni kicked Vishnu in the chest. And Lakshmi cursed him. Well, Brigamuni, what happened was Brigamuni wanted to see who the most powerful of the three demigods, three main controllers were, so he went to Shiva and he disrespected him in his mind, and Shiva tried to hit him with a trident and he escaped. And then he went to Brahma and he just cussed Brahma out. And Brahma was tolerant. And then he went to Vishnu and he thought, like, you know, he just kicked Vishnu on the chest. He kicked him right in the chest. And then Vishnu said, "Oh, I'm sorry. My chest is so hard. I hope I didn't hurt your foot." And then like Brigu was like, "All right, this is the Supreme Lord." But then Lakshmi was like, "Did you just kick my husband in the chest?" And so she's like, "I curse that all your followers and race will become degraded." And so that's why Brahmanas are degraded. But in terms of Brahma, yeah, there was some curse why he's not worshipped. There are actually certain places in India where they worship Brahma, but it's rare. We find that actually that, you know, Brahma is the incarnation of the mode of passion, right? So like there are beings who we see in the Vedas worship like Brahma, like Hiranyakashipu.
Leela?
Leela means like divine play. Well, we do know Leela, but it means a divine play. Leela means like pastime or activity. Like our activities are not Leela because we're forced to act. You know, like we think boy and girl come together because they're forced to by lust and by material desires. You know, and in that there's so many things that happen. You know, because I have so much desire, I'm attracted and pulled in this way and that way, you know, or I have some, you know, I got to go to work. It's not a Leela. I got to support my family. If I don't support my family, I'm going to look terrible, so I better do it. You know, all these different things. But a transcendental person, he does Leela because his activities aren't forced. He's liberated. Everything he's doing is for the pure pleasure of it. So when you refer to people like Krishna or people like Prabhupada, it's their Leela, meaning that it's like a play for them. Like whatever struggles they're going through, it's play.
But when we do devotional service, we're participating in Lord Chaitanya.
We're participating in Lord Chaitanya Leela. Yeah, I mean, for the devotees, we can say we do have Leelas, and that's why we laugh at, our various characters at Govindas and so forth, that they are a Leela, because no one has to subject themselves to these things, but we do it out of the pure pleasure of serving Krishna, right? Leela.
Is it something you can elicit? Is it like Shakti with Bhakti and Leela?
Well, you enter into Leela when you surrender to Krishna. Because the Leela energy, which is, Leela means pleasure, like pleasure, it doesn't mean energy directly. Leela means literally play. It means play, like to play. But why do we play? For fun. Playfulness is the basis energy of pleasure. Even like sexual, whatever pleasure is there, it's all ultimately this playful, creative energy. And so sometimes people, when two boy and girl come together, fall in love, there's a playfulness. And that's like this attraction. It's all playful. And that's a perverted reflection of it. So the playfulness, that playful energy is the kind of basis of this Leela. But our playful energy is under the influence of Maya, Durga. She's in charge of it. And so it's like a perverted reflection. But Krishna's playful energy is Daivi, is under the divine energy. It's under the jurisdiction of Srimati Radharani. And so when you surrender to Krishna, Mahatmanas Tumam Partha, Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha, that the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. So they're no longer under the material nature. They're no longer under Durga Devi, no longer under Parvati or Bhavani. They're no longer under her. Now they're under Radha. And so they're in a different world. The laws of physics are different in this world of Krishna consciousness. And so to the degree that you surrender to Krishna's service, it is a Leela. It's a play. And it's actually fun. And how do you get there? Krishna says, and this is the most beautiful part of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantashtya jafrataha namashantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upashyate. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Those who are always chanting my glories. Yatantashtya javrata, who are endeavoring with great determination to serve me. Namashantascha mam bhakta, who are bowing down before me with great love. Nitya yukta upashyate. Such persons are always in contact with me. So then it becomes a Leela. And that's why when you read the Prabhupada Leela Amrita, or reading about Narada Muni's Leela, these souls are different. It's a different thing. Like Krishna went through so many miseries, right? A great example in the Western world is the story of Jesus. Why is the Son of God dying on a cross? Doesn't make any sense. This is a Leela. This is actually a divine pastime. It's something that's part of the spiritual plan of God. It's not like some mundane material thing. Or, even in the sense that, like there's Leelas and when pure devotees are born. Prabhupada's Leela. When Prabhupada was a baby, he was, worshiping Krishna. He was doing this Rath Yatra festival as a child in his front lawn, with a little cart his dad built him. And then Prabhupada took that festival, brought it all over the world. Prabhupada's born and devoted to Krishna. These are Leela. These are devoted souls. And so we shouldn't be arrogant and think that this is my Leela. That's a big sign of Maya. Is that cool? Sensible? All right. Yes? Yeah, right.
What was that?
For Krishna's pastime, yes, it's time pass.
Next verse. After 4,300,000 solar years when Brahma awoke, 4,300,000 solar years. Okay, so I'm correcting my mistake. This was after the end of Brahma's day, not after the end of his life. Brahma awoke to create again by the will of the Lord. All the rishis like Marichi, Angira, Atri, and so on were created from the transcendental body of the Lord, and I also appeared with them. So Narada appeared with all the other sages. So what makes Narada different from the other sages? Anybody know? We're going to finish the chapter today, come hell or high water.
He's fully spiritual.
Yeah, he's fully spiritual. But why? What makes him specifically fully spiritual and the other sages not?
He'd be traveling around in the spiritual and material world.
But why?
Because he surrendered.
Yeah, he surrendered. Because the other sages are dedicated to the Vedas. They know the Vedas, but they're karmakandis. They're not bhakti yogis. So you have to be a bhakti yogi to come to the level that we're speaking here. You got to be a bhakti yogi. There is no other process to take you this high besides bhakti. And bhakti meaning real bhakti, not Mishra bhakti. No, real bhakti. Two, Mishra, mixed bhakti. Bhakti to Krishna, Vasudeva. This is the key. Yeah,
So when these transcendental people appeared, they don't have to like go through suffering and all that, right? They kind of just like appear.
They appear like they are, right? Like Prabhupada appeared like he was suffering, but is not real suffering. Because such a person is not even identified with it at all.
So they don't experience any pain.
Prabhupada was asked. He was like, Prabhupada was actually at the end of his life. He couldn't walk, and he was, skin and bones. He was like, you can see the videos. Prabhupada's like a skeleton, and he's there. And, what is Prabhupada doing? Translating Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting. Prabhupada, they say, Prabhupada, are you in pain? Prabhupada said, I have nothing to do with this body. I have nothing to do with this body. Prabhupada said, take me on parikram. They said, Prabhupada, you're going to die if we take you on. Take me on parikram. Prabhupada, you're going to die. The whole thing, they ended up not taking him on parikram. Said Krishnadas Babaji sing him, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan. We sang that song. So that's our process. So the pure devotees are different. They appear like they may be going through pain, but they're not. Like Haridas Thakur, right? He was whipped in 22 marketplaces. But that was only for the glorification of Lord Chaitanya and for his own glorification. Even Arjuna, right? Arjuna fell into illusion. What was that for? It was for Krishna's purposes, to speak Bhagavad Gita. That's why you really can't, judge a pure devotee. You have to be very careful when you interact with pure devotees, because they're kind of on that level of Leela. And when you read about any devotee who's really surrendered to the Krishna consciousness movement, and they have these mystical stories, like we hear about our Parameshwar, he has so many mystical stories, or Navina, this is Leela, because they're actually participating in this. And that's the power of, it's participatory spirituality, that we have the opportunity to participate in God's activities. What is God doing? I mean, name some things God is doing. Seriously. Stealing butter. What else? I'm looking for a specific answer. Harinam, that's exactly what I was looking for. God is participating in the Hare Krishna movement. He started it. He's the greatest. He's our leader. Lord Chaitanya came to show you, you want to be a Hare Krishna? He taught us how to take prasadam. He taught us how to chant. He taught us how to go out in Harinam, go out and preach. Lord Chaitanya is doing all these activities.
He's singing his own glories.
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Because he appeared as a devotee.
So he can teach you how to sing his glories? It says right in the Bhagavatam that prediction, it says that in the Bhagavatam, this is 5,000 years ago, it said that in the age of Kali Yuga, those with sufficient brain substance will worship Krishna, who doesn't appear in blackish form, but who appears in a golden form, but who appears as his own devotee and sings his own glories.
Okay.
And why wouldn't you sing your own glories if you're Krishna? Who else is there to glorify? Actually, there's two reasons, though. What's the external reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance?
Will restore.
The external reason. Say it? You think you're on the right track?
He was love of God.
Well, this is why Krishna comes into the world.
Yes, okay, exactly. He's coming to give the Yuga Dharma. What's the internal reason for his appearance?
He wants to experience.
Arjuna raised his hand.
Because he wanted to have fun. It's Leela, like we're talking about. So
Yeah, he wanted to have a specific kind of fun, though.
so much fun. Like he knew all the fun that the devotees would have doing Harinam and chanting and all of that. He could have sent any devotee to do it instead, but why? If it's so much fun, if it's the best joy that you can experience in this life, why wouldn't he want to come and experience that himself?
Krishna was sitting with Radharani, and Krishna was realizing that I am the source of bliss and happiness, but Radha is happier than me. How is this possible? So she's getting more ecstasy from worshiping me than I am in being me. So he said, therefore I have to come in the mood of Radharani. Therefore Lord Chaitanya came in Radharani's mood. And simultaneously decided, well, since I'm here, I might as well give everybody a chance to go to Goloka Vrindavan, which is the most confidential part of the spiritual Vaikuntha planets. So we're like a special deal right now, it's like, you can go to Goloka Vrindavan, all expense paid trip to Goloka Vrindavan. Only now you have exactly 10,000, you have 5,000 years left. You have 10,000 years. You have 9,500 years left, folks, till you can get this special deal, all expense paid trip to Goloka Vrindavan Dham, pure love of God is available. Only now. It won't come again and for another 4 billion years. So, but wait, not only one single Kali Yuga does Lord Chaitanya come in the day of Brahma. There are other avatars that preach the holy name, but Lord Chaitanya himself comes one day. And that's why in the Bhagavatam it says sometimes this avatar appears. And there's a verse in the Bhagavatam that says there is no one more fortunate. There is zero. A soul does not become more fortunate than he who joins the Sankirtan movement of the Lord. It's the most fortunate thing. If you can come to this movement, you are so fortunate to be here. It's amazing. So, yeah.
How do you not become prideful with that?
Because if you really do this and you do it right, you can't be prideful. Because when you see Krishna, you can't be prideful. I mean, if you're going to do the spiritual journey for real, you're going to see some things in yourself that if you're prideful, I don't know how you can be, because once you dig down a little deep, what you find is not pretty. And if you're prideful, then he will surely fix that very fast. But what's the opposite of prideful? I mean, the real solution is you become grateful. And Mahaprabhu is that, where none of us are worthy, that's the point. You read about Lord Chaitanya's Leela. That's the most, Lord Chaitanya's Leela is the ultimate Leela. Really, what's amazing is if you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita and you hear all these extraordinary things of Lord Chaitanya, and then you realize that we're living it. Like, we're doing all those things, even down to the little games we play, the little, humble games and all the different things that the devotees have their kind of like, Lord Chaitanya's devotees are a little insane. And so, yeah, we're in that. We can enter that, and we have that opportunity. We're in that, and it's really beautiful. And that's the beauty, is that when you really go into this, then you can understand the rasa dance. You can understand the gopis and all that too. Well, I think it'd be really cool if we were able to finish it, but we're at 32. Let's just do a few more and see how it goes here. Let's just do this one at least. This is a nice verse. And thus I traveled constantly, singing the transcendental message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called the veena, which is charged with transcendental sound, which was given to me by Lord Krishna. So, right now we're hearing about how Narada Muni is the transcendental spaceman. He's a spaceman. He travels through outer space, playing the veena and chanting Hare Krishna. That's a job. Both in spiritual and material worlds, because I am fixed in unbroken devotional service. And This is a nice verse. The next verse is really powerful. The Lord Sri Krishna, whose glories and activities are pleasing to the ear, at once appears on the seat of my heart as if called for, as soon as I began to chant his holy activities. So this is the result of pure chanting, that Krishna appears in our heart. And who here has experienced Krishna very profoundly in the holy name before? Right? We all had that experience, hopefully. We've had that experience where Krishna comes.
It just shows up one day.
I mean, like, you can't expect, Krishna can show up in many ways. You gotta be sincere.
You can't miss it once it shows up. It's not like you're confused that just happened. I mean, once it comes, it comes.
Yeah. But you can't be, the mind will try to trick you. Yeah, is that real? The material mind will try to trick you. Yeah. You know, am I tripping? Am I just like, do I just desire to have some type of, you know, do I just deeply want to have an experience and that's why I'm, you know, doing this? You know, maybe I'm just imagining it. Am I really, why would Krishna come to me? You know, anyways, it's, I mean, like if you expect that Krishna is going to, you know, appear to you face to face, then you might be a little bit, you might not get what you want there. But, I mean, Krishna will come to you somehow or another. I mean, even then, if we appreciate Krishna's devotees, that's enough, right? Really, honestly, if I get the devotees in my life, I get Srila Prabhupada in my life, I mean, I need Krishna there. Krishna's in the heart of the devotee. Krishna says, where I'm not, he actually says, right, in the verse, in the Padma Purana, I think, and, you know, I'm not here, I'm not there, I'm not here or there. I'm actually in the heart of my pure devotee. So how do you get into the heart of a pure devotee? You surrender to them and you serve them. And then you really access that mood, that heart, that love. It's all about love. All right. And we'll just call it here and we can continue on. You have some fruits, Omar, or something?
Yeah.
Right? Omar has some for us.
Apricots.
Oh, nice.